In this video I would like to show our table control and the concept of indexed addressing. The goal is to have an Excel-like table which allows us to scroll up and down into an array, and I can scroll in both directions, up and down, and I can enter every member of this array. How do we program this? In our SpiderControl editor we have an array notation which could look like this, and what we do with it is we add a dynamic index offset. So the base offset will be 1, and the dynamic offset operator is called plus at conf underscore, and then reference a local container variable, and the name of this variable is list of. So this allows us to add a dynamic offset inside the client to the base index of this array. This can be used with our table control, which I now import from the macro gallery dialog. I will add this control in our view. When we now have a look at the elements of this control, we see that every single edit field uses a different base offset to the same container offset. So the first line will have an offset of 1, 2, etc. The buttons on the right side will increment and decrement this container variable list of, and therefore the control will show a consecutive display of the cells of this array. To simulate this control in our SCADA server, which runs on the PC, I will now modify the name of these variables. So I will change the array name by a global replace, search and replace function. So I will all the variables begin with my array, and I will add the prefix icells.otf to make them automatically generated and simulated inside the SCADA server. OTF stands for on the fly, so this means every variable which begins with this prefix will automatically be generated when first referenced. So I have changed the variable names, and in the same manner you can use all your real existing array namings that you might have on your PLC, which are all adaptable to this dynamic addressing. I will add another field which now uses an absolute addressing, which allows us to control the functionality of the dynamic referencing used in the table control. So I'll take the same name but enter the fixed address 2. I'll make a build and send the project again to the SCADA server. We'll transfer the project by HTTP. We reload it, and here we are. We're now able to enter a new value at the fixed address, and we see that the dynamic dereferencing inside the table control will look at exactly at the same place. So we can scroll Indexing can also be used for a different thing. So what I would like to show here is to enter during runtime a variable name in the user interface and then directly find this variable in the namespace of the SCADA server. So we'll use a container name to store this variable name, and you will reference it in the second edit field using that @co underscore operator. When I make a second build and send it to the server again, okay, here we are, reloaded, and now I enter an existing variable name, and the second edit field will then point to this real existing variable which is also shown in the array.